Testing, testing. Hello. Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Ellen Gottlieb. I'm with Save Social Security and Medicare Now, and we weren't sure if we could get a dozen people here, so surprise. So I picked up the phone and I called former commissioner of the Social Security Administration under President Biden, Martin O'Malley, on the phone. He did not know me. He had a lot of questions about our organization and what we were doing and why. And I've been doing this for 6 years. I first volunteered with the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. And that's why you got these placards, because I volunteered with them for 6 years. And they said, we'll donate all those placards. So very nice of them. We collaborate with Social Security Works. You probably heard of Bowser, John Bowman, that is an advocate for Social Security. He founded Social Security Works. And of course, FLARA, which is the Florida Alliance of Retired Americans. So all great organizations, right? Okay, so we wanted to let people know what it's like for someone who has no choice but to receive Social Security benefits. And I'm looking for Skylar. Can you help her up on the, yeah. That's okay, that's okay. She's coming up here to join us in a minute or two. But, you know, we got scared. I'm scared. A lot of people are scared because things are moving so fast and it seems really recklessly. That's why Commissioner O'Malley is here today to talk about what's going on so you know what's happening. And then our organization, the reason we started this organization is because the other organizations don't really do grassroots activism. And we want you to be active, because when we join, I can't stop Elon Musk by myself, but you know what? There's about 400 people here today, okay? Yeah. And with 400 people networking within their networks of people that, you know, are seniors or disabled or be affected by this, we can make a lot of noise and give them a big headache and make it so they back down. And I'm gonna tell you how to do this after the presentation, okay? And here's Meredith. I know this detaches. Oh. This is Meredith and Skylar.
Hi. So my name is Skylar, and Social Security is really important for me because for SSDI you can have more than $2,000 in your bank account, so you get everything taken away. So I only get my Social Security check, pretty much.
So a little bit of context as her mom. So this young woman, when she was 22 years old, had graduated from Yale and had already been to 5 out of the 7 continents, really spreading what we believed was the American dream. And I'm not talking about the American dream that is how rich can you get, how quickly. I'm talking about the freedom to go out there and figure out how to execute whatever is the fully largest expression of you. And for some people, that is getting very, very wealthy. For some people, that is, you know, running big businesses. But for other people, like Skylar, it's out there being creative, sharing the message that we're a place where you can just find a home where the buffalo roams. And then in 2016, I got a call that this random boulder in the middle of Colombia, South America, had come crashing off the side of a mountain on Skylar. And she was not expected to survive. So there I was, this single mom, thinking, why me? Not because why did it happen to me, but why did she end up with me? Because I couldn't possibly afford to give her the care that she would need to have a shot at a miracle. Well, here we are 9 years later. She has survived the unsurvivable. And we are not here because we believe Social Security for any of us is a handout. It is a dimension of the American dream. And every single one. Thank you. And we are here to implore you to take a step back and remember your own boulder in your own story, because we all have it. And now is our time to realize that the American dream is not about the white picket fence. It's about achieving something that everyone else says is impossible. And if you forget about it, we hope that you'll think of Skylar and me. So,
thank you so much. If you parked in front of a bus in the back parking lot, we need you to move, and then there'll be more spots that you can park in. But if you did park in front of that bus, we do need you to move your car. If you are a red Ford license plate VAS something, yes, if you can move. And if you are a CRV license plate BX3JGU, if you can move your car, please. Hi, my name is Andy Oliver. I am pastor of Allendale United Methodist Church here. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm so grateful that you are here because what is happening to our country right now is immoral and unjust. I just want to give a brief welcome statement from the people of my church. They wrote 10 years ago that they want to make sure anyone who entered this space from the beginning, whatever baggage you brought into a church space, you knew that you were welcomed and beloved. And part of that statement goes, whatever your race, ethnicity, economic situation, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, background or belief, age or condition of ableness, whether single or partnered, you are God's beloved and are welcome here. I want to introduce to you why you all came here today to hear from the expert. He's former governor of Maryland and former commissioner of the Social Security Administration, former Governor Martin O'Malley. Thank you so much for being here, and we are grateful that you traveled all the way to see us.
Let's give it up for Pastor Oliver. I want to thank everybody that's a member of this church for opening up your beautiful campus to us. And we had quite a morning, didn't we, Father? We evicted the toddlers from their space. I was trying to set up for a remote shot with Michael Steele on MSNBC. He was filling in for Jen Psaki. So. I'll tell the former lieutenant governor that I mentioned his name here, and you gave him applause, even though I defeated him in an election. So I'll let you know. Well, we had we kicked the kids out. We started stacking up the blocks. We couldn't get the iPad high enough, and then we couldn't get on the internet. So then the pastor took me over to his office. As we were struggling with that, by the way, he said, "Would you like to use my office? Because I already have a camera and a microphone set up and I do direct things. And I said, yes, Pastor, we would. So I want to acknowledge, what Ellen told you is true. I'd never spoken to Ellen before. I don't know, how do you get my number? All right, well, I was minding my own business, and Ellen called. She told me about this grassroots organization that she'd put together called Save Social Security and Medicare Now. She says, look, we're going to do a series of town halls to let people know, because what they're doing is happening so fast that the democracy, the people, can't get ahead of it to stop it through their representatives. Would you come down and talk? Yeah. So I want to thank and ask you to thank Ellen and also Paul, who have done all of this as two people themselves. Paul. And Cameron, our able sound and sound tech and vid tech. Cameron, thank you. So look, this is what I thought we'd do today. The call to action, really, since we're still a republic, at least we still cling to the notion that we're a republic, and, expectations become behavior. So your representatives are still your representatives. And even in this time of polarization, look, I know some of you probably didn't vote for the people that are currently representing you. Some of you may be diametrically opposed to the choices they make when they're in there. But look, they're in there. And we have to not do what authoritarians try to achieve, which is to get all of us to check out and just think we have no agency, that our voice doesn't matter, that the representatives we call won't listen or won't care. They will care. 80% of Americans, regardless of party, even in a time of tremendous polarization, believe that Social Security should be strengthened, expanded, and made better. 80%. And don't think for a second that Senator Scott or any of your congresspeople don't know that as well. So we need to rise up. The pump-up music was chosen intentionally, and thank you, Cameron, for executing on my vision. Come on up to the rising. We need to rise up with public opinion. That's the only thing that's going to stop them. I spoke to Liz Warren yesterday. She was going to a gathering like this, and Senator Warren, excuse me. Spoke to Senator Warren yesterday. I said, Senator, we're in a race, and time's not on our side. We need to educate the democracy, the people, to what they're doing to dismantle their Social Security before these guys accomplish it. Before they accomplish it. So we're counting on you, and that's why I am here. So this is what I thought we'd do. I'm not going to filibuster. I'm out of public life, so I don't have to talk forever. No longer an elected official. So, but I did serve at Social Security last year, and so I learned a lot from really dedicated people who had served their whole life in that agency to make sure we got the right check to the right person at the right time. And they did so with a remarkable degree of success. 90 years without ever missing a monthly payment is a pretty good record, don't you think? So I learned a lot about the agency, learned a lot about, a lot of the falsehoods that are told about the agency. And so we're going to get into Q&A. I'm going to run around like Phil Donahue and pass the mic around, so we'll hear from everybody. Oh, a couple more acknowledgments. I want to thank Skylar. Skylar, I ran out yesterday. Thank you, Skylar. A big round of applause there. What an amazing spirit that you raised in that woman. And I want to thank Meredith. Thank you. They were both there yesterday at 2 rallies, and they've come today. So thank you. Thanks a lot. Telling your story. And I ran out of there yesterday. Skylar, after I thanked her yesterday, I came off in between things. She goes, I have a question for you after. I said, I'm no longer the commissioner. So I'm going to be here after. I know it's a Medicare question, so I'm sorry that we got separated and ran out yesterday. Are there any elected officials here from either party for us to acknowledge? Any elected officials? Okay, how about any elected party officials from any party? Okay, there were a number that were there yesterday, so people care. Anyway, back to what I thought we'd do. I really want to get to the Q&A. Ask any questions you might like about some of the falsehoods being told, or the long-term solvency, or anything else you like. I wanted to share with you the context in which this rapid deconstruction, dismantling of your Social Security agency is happening. And because it's not happening to an agency that was bloated, not happening to an agency that was adequately staffed. And as you'll see from some of the graphs and the data and the numbers I'm going to show you, the truth is House Republicans were cutting your Social Security customer service before the DOGE bros even had driver's licenses. So, and it's in that weakened state that, we now see happening before our very eyes what's happening. And you see it. But for every one of you that sees it, there are another 100 people that don't even know yet. So let me take you to a higher level here. It was really good getting to know Pastor Oliver in that short period of time, and I saw in his window of his office, couldn't miss the picture of Bishop Romero. And, Bishop Romero led a Christian life as a martyr, and certainly a person that understood the power of forgiveness, but he did not reconcile with the oligarchs of El Salvador, did he? You and I are part of a living, self-creating mystery called the United States of America. And the heart of that mystery is actually a very real and personal thing. It is the freedom to believe and to act upon the belief that we are all in this together, that we are one, that our cause is one, and that we must help each other if we are to succeed. And you understand and you see because you took the time to be here on a Sunday. And it wasn't just because of concern for yourself. You understand and you see that our greatness as a people is not measured by our amount of wealth, and it's not measured by the size of our armies. It is measured by the actions we take and the actions and the choices that we make to demonstrate our care for one another. And that's why you care about Social Security. To feed the hungry, to shelter the homeless, to clothe the naked, to care for people in the dawn of life and those in the dusk of life. This is the mission we share as Americans. This is our highest calling as Americans. And Social Security is the greatest act of caring and compassion that the free people of a republic have ever put into the place, not just for themselves, but for their neighbors and for generations after them. And so now we find ourselves at a moment of American history when, for the second time, we have actually elected a person who has no regard for the institutions of our country and apparently no regard for the rule of law. The things that are happening all across our country to your Social Security agency are a cruelty, an injustice, intentional infliction of emotional distress on a workforce that has been overwhelmed for years, with staffing that has been reduced to a 50-year low and customers at an all-time high. Can you put up that slide, Cameron? This is a thing you can't look at and forget. So that red line represents staffing at the Social Security Administration. And you can see it declining even as that blue graph is rising. And if you're too far away to see the screen, or you're over 30 like me, I'll read it to you and get real close. So the blue graph is beneficiaries in the millions. In the millions. Baby boomers. Like me, we all knew the demographic bulge was coming. They knew that back when Congress last adjusted Social Security for the longer-term future. That's why they built up the trust fund reserve that still has $2.7 trillion in it that I think somebody wants. But you see that yawning gap, don't you? Between the staffing going down, 50-year low now, and they want to take it down even further. They want to get rid of another 10,000 people. They said they wanted to cut staffing at the agency by 50%. It's already at like 54%. And then they walked that back and said, oh, what we meant was we only want to go down to 50,000 people. But that gap, I have experienced it, I have seen it, and so have all of you, many of you. If you called the 800 number, there was a time that it was an hour and a half. When I entered the agency after President Biden sent me there, and by the way, when he sent me there, near attendance said, look, full disclosure, we really need you to do this, but it's a fully engulfed dumpster fire in terms of customer service because of the staffing reduced to a 50-year low and more customers, active beneficiaries every day. If it were McDonald's, remember when McDonald's used to do the billion cheeseburgers sold or whatever it was on the front? Every day a new record high. The demoralization in this agency is such that before I got there, for 3 years in a row, they listed themselves, this agency that in 2012 said they were the best place to work in the federal government, listed themselves as the worst place to work with the greatest workloads. Attrition, when I got there in the teleservice centers, was like 22%. We turned around, they turned that leaking battleship on a dime, but its deck is only that far above the waterline. And so we fought against attrition every day, watched it like hawks, created a performance management regimen every 2 weeks to improve customer service lines of delivery. We got the 800 number speed to answer down from 42.5 minutes in January down to 12.5 minutes in September. The wait time on the third level appeals, because Social Security also has within it the largest adjudicatory body, administrative law judges, to hear the appeals in disability cases. We got that down from 405 days at the beginning of the year to 280 days in terms of speed to decision. First time they'd been able to achieve that in some 25 years. One that we weren't able to totally put down, but we got it moving in a better direction, is the initial disability claims. Here in Florida, if, God forbid, somebody in your family gets injured and you need to file a disability claim, it takes 328 days just to get the initial claim. In Maryland, Maryland, it was like 350 days. We got all of those starting to move in a better direction. We did policy changes, many of which they're now reversing. But we did policy changes, we did other things, so that your state disability offices, like the one in Florida, which you fund through your Social Security contributions, you fund them, but they're state employees. Not since Dwight D. Eisenhower signed Social Security's disability program into law have so many people died waiting for their initial disability determination. And now all of those things are going in the wrong direction. Let me explain to you, share with you a little bit about what's happened in recent days. Those metrics started going in the wrong direction around December as employees started hearing what was coming. Some of them had survived and hung in there for 4 years the last time. They said, nope, I've been to this movie before. It's only going to be worse this time. A lot of retirements. But these are a few of the things that have happened of late, and they've really had the effect I talked about attrition being the fire-breathing dragon at the gate. They are dousing it with kerosene, trying to get people out of the agency as quickly as they can. To break it, I believe, so they can privatize it and loot it. I don't know what their ultimate intent is, but I can tell you from having run the agency that the things that they are doing are driving experienced, knowledgeable people, including in the IT systems, right out of the agency, and this is why. Awaiting the confirmation of co-president Trump's nominee for Social Security, they put an acting person in charge. Excellent, lifelong public servant. Her name is Michelle King. She was the head of operations, the 1,211 field offices all around the country, the processing centers. She was a big deal in the agency. Really important person. That's the largest component were those forward-facing folks, including the teleservice centers. In any event, they put her in charge. She chose a deputy, and Tiffany Flick. Both of them had been part of the command staff of Donald Trump's commissioner back in 2000 and when he served for 1 year at the end of Donald Trump's term. So these are career people, and she was great doing what we needed her to do when I was in there with my command staff. Excellent public servant, all very circumspect in terms of their politics. So on a Friday, a person like 4 or 5 down in the agency named Lee Dudek, who I knew, he was in the data office, anti-fraud. He posted a screed. Does anybody know what a screed is? He posted a long LinkedIn post where he exclaimed, "I confess, I shared a lot of data with the DOGE team. I confess, I bullied employees in order to get them to cooperate with the DOGE team. I've been put on administrative leave for doing those things, pending an investigation. I confess, I confess, I confess." And it was kind of a rather bizarre post. We'll give him benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was pretty stressed out, made an error in judgment. But then he quickly took it down. But not before other people had screenshotted it. By Tuesday, Michelle King had been forced to resign. Her deputy, Tiffany Flick, had been forced to resign. Or, because they're honorable people, chose to resign. And they were replaced by guess who? The guy 4 down. First time the agency's ever had a GS-15 as an acting commissioner, and they skipped over 123 senior executive service people that I certainly would have gone to before I went to him. At his first big act, you've heard about improper payments. We don't want to make mistakes. Sometimes there's overpayments. Some of you may have seen the 60 Minutes thing. So they have a whole division called OARO, Office of Analytics and Review. And man, do they review. These cats keep so much data. They review the allowances and disability cases, double check them twice to make sure that it's properly under the law and the facts. They spot check the amounts that go out and see what the error rate is. Usually it's like a 1% error rate, sometimes 1.2. They give us the data so we can address what are the causes of overpayments, underpayments, and those sorts of things. So this is the entity in which that Dudek gentleman, now the acting commissioner, worked a few down in the anti-fraud, because they're also the program integrity and anti-fraud people are there, as well as other components. By the end of that week, he had his boss, the deputy commissioner in that agency, in front of her colleagues, stand up in front of everyone and read how that entire division was being dismantled. One piece was sent here, another piece was sent here, a different piece was sent here, another piece over there. It was like the flying monkeys tearing up the scarecrow. And then he had this career veteran stand up in front of her colleagues after he made her emotionally go through the dismantling of this division she had led, and made her tell them that she's been reassigned to be a senior advisor to the press office. one of the highest performing people. Not to be outdone, the next week, he brought in the head of the Office of Transformation. We should call it the Office of Customer Service Transformation. These were some of the best and the brightest pulled from the agency to make it easier for you and not harder to get services from an agency that's been reduced to a 50-year low. These are the people that keep the website going. These are the people that keep my SSA going. These are the people that do so many things in the agency. And one of the most capable people that I've ever met, that was the head of it, was Eric Powers. Brought him in, told him he's being fired for cause. Go back and tell your 80 people to pack up their stuff in cardboard boxes. They're being fired too. What sort of effect do you think that has on people wondering whether they should stay or go? Not to be outdone, that afternoon he brought in long-serving African-American woman, one of our A players again, because I got to know all these deputy commissioners very well in an intense year of turning that battleship around. And he brought her in. Said her division is called the Office of Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity. He said, your services are no longer needed. You're being fired for cause. Tell your 160 people to put their stuff in cardboard boxes. Their services are no longer needed. Can they apply for other jobs in other places in the agency? No. We're restructuring. Then, and only after, they showed everyone in the agency, and those cats talk nationwide. They talk nationwide. After all of those actions of some of the highest performing people in the department, then they said everybody is going to be availed the opportunity of a cash payment if you'll leave now and don't let the door hit your backside on the way out. If you are already retirement eligible, they paid them with your money out of the trust fund for a full year. We'll pay you between now and December if you leave now. No need for an exit interview, no need for knowledge transfer if you're a tech person. Get out now, and by the way, we need to do more restructuring once March 12th comes and goes, and that's your deadline for making a decision. Then they told all the other people, they gave them grades of pay. We'll give you $5,000 if you've only been here 3 days to leave. We'll give you $10,000 if you've been here. I didn't mean 3 days, I meant 3 years, right? We'll give you another amount, I forget what it is. It was like $10,000 if you've been here more than 5 years, $25,000. And what are people to do when they're seeing this dismantling of the agency and all of these cuts? So that's what's been going on. That's what's happened at your Social Security Administration. Next slide, if you would, the insurance one. They say it's in order to drive efficiencies, right? Drive efficiencies, eliminate waste. By the way, also, just so you don't leave here afraid, there is no zombie apocalypse stealing your checks. There are not people 150-year-old, like the Walking Dead, out here in Allendale with your cash flowing out of their cadaverous pockets. That's not happening. That is not happening. Totally discredited by everybody, and then the president, co-president Trump, who, lies like other people chew gum. He did not want to be outdone, so in his address to Congress, he said, they're not 150 years old, they're 300 years old. They must have come here for the founding of Jamestown. But this is, if you think of your Social Security agency and the dollars you put into it, it's insurance. Like you've been paying the premiums in order to qualify, in order, God forbid a disability, but when you get to retirement. So if you think of it like a big insurance company and you compare it to private sector, back when they operated well, they operated at 1.2% overhead for benefits paid. If you compare that to other private insurance companies, Allstate operates on 19% overhead for benefits paid. Liberty Mutual, Liberty Bibberty, 23% for compared to benefits paid. This is a highly efficient agency that has now nearly been broken by driving it down to its lowest level of staffing ever, and they want to still drive it down in order to break it so they can, I believe, privatize it and loot it. And the only thing standing between their ability to do that or stopping them is you and the democracy. Unless you want to count on, you and the democracy. Because, I mean, they can file suit. That's never a guarantee. But if you rise up, when I was in elected office, I got a sheet every week telling me how many people called about what issues. They all get it. They all get it. So there is nothing more important that you can do right now in order to slow this, put the brakes on it, than to call your congresspeople and to call your senators. So with that, why don't we, I think we should probably get to Q&A, or do you want to do a pastor announcement? Did they ever get out the bus? Sure. Ellen would like to say something, the pastor would like to say something, or has somebody who would like to say something. Should we let the pastor?
We'll let the pastor speak.
We're going to be ready for Q&A when you are. So I have a couple people with mics that will be ready for Q&A as soon as you're ready to go. Well, we have people around the room, and so we're ready to take questions when you're ready. Oh, no problem.
Okay, so I know a lot of this is very discouraging, and you're thinking, oh, well. Okay, so take heart, because they tried to end Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, in January when Trump took office in 2017. And I was one of those people on the front lines fighting against it, working with people in the grassroots. Thank you, to make sure that didn't happen. And you know what? There's more people invested in this than there were 45 million with the Affordable Care Act. There's 70 million with Social Security, and even, I think even more with Medicare. So we can stop them, and I'm going to help you learn how. If you were given a cardboard placard with a QR code, please stand up so you can hold it very still and don't move it at all. And I'm going to tell you, can you turn around so the people in the okay, there's a different character in every group, and here we have. I guess so. Okay, no, you're good. You're good. You're fine. I think you're funny. Okay, so what I need you to do is get out your cell phones. Do not take a picture. Don't take a photograph. Open up your camera, and when you focus on that QR code, a little tiny yellow thing or a little notice will come up, and it says open in Chrome or go to the website. Okay, so don't take the picture, just see that little notice and click on that, and that will open directly to our website. We'll have them at the door on the way out too. And we are going to notify you of all the things. Yeah, it's the same QR code here on the banners there. And we'll have them on the way out too. And sign up on the website, and we'll let you know what surprises we have for Miss Anna Polina Luna. Okay? I hope everyone knows that next week there's a recess in Congress, and she might just be around here, and we might want to pay her a visit. Okay? We're not saying we're doing that. We might do something else. We don't want to telegraph our punches and give them time to, So I'm just saying that you need to sign up so you know what's going on, okay? You sign up on the website. You take out, yes, that website that opens up when you use the QR code, that is not the website. No, that's why I said these placards, not those, okay? So, and the website is on our, I think it's actually wrong on our banners. My bad. No, that one's correct. Nope, it's right, okay. This one, they didn't put now on it. Okay, but we're good. And they did, see here on our logo, they were supposed to put now after Medicare, but that's okay. The website is right. Okay, guys, so we're going to start the question and answer, and it sounds like Reverend Andy knows what he's doing, so I'm turning over the mic.
Yeah,
Okay.
we talked. I like running around like Phil Donahue. So, and Father's going to help too. Sir, there you are.
Hi. So I've been concerned about the workforce being reduced in size and AI replacing humans, and how that's going to affect Social Security, other government expenses such as taxes that we pay, which the Trump administration feels that we should not have to pay any taxes at all, income taxes. And I was thinking, well, what can we do about this? I mean, we see an attack on the people of this country. We are all being attacked, whether it's our age or youngsters and so forth. We have seen what has happened in Congress, in the House of Representatives, of how they cut Medicaid so drastically. And there are people there who are so poor, but they are deserving the right to have health care. So I said to myself, well, how do we sustain Social Security? We see an attack on the Department of Education. They're going to be reducing the intelligence of our youngsters, you know, being equipped to hold jobs. So how are we going to sustain it? I mean, they have taken away our protection. They take away the protection of the consumer when it came to the banking and other things. They're taking away the protection of us when it comes to our food. And we see every day this food and that food and this, all the stores that we shop at, where, you know, that could have killed us or our neighbors or our children. So I have a question. I have a suggestion. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have a suggestion. How do we replace a workforce? Well, I'm saying this, that if industry is going to be employing AI technology, if an industry replaces 1,000 employees, then they should be paying in the costs of replacing those employees to society, such as they should be paying in what we would pay into Social Security, they should be paying in to Social Security for those 1,000 workers. And I would like to see something coming on this country where we go ahead and we stand together and say, hey, we're not going to take this crap anymore. Thank you.
My bad. I forgot to say something. The rules are. No. I love the passion. And also, in addition to talking to your Congress people and letting them know, lighting them up, send them an email, send them, calling them, networking, letting your own friends know on your Facebook page. Some of us, I don't have any grandkids yet. I'll have one in May. And thank you. Had nothing to do with it. But letting your networks know about what's going on. Like I told you about talking to Senator Warren, the race is we need to educate more people. So look, here's the rules. We have 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes to answer. If you have 2 minutes to ask the question, or to give a speech, or to sing a song, or to do a recitation, but it has to be 2 minutes. All right? So there you go. And if anybody gets over 2 minutes, this is fun. This is what makes it audience participation. Pastor, I'm going to share something in Allendale that you might be able to use, or you hope they don't use it against you in a homily. When they're over, if they go over 2 minutes, you start going like this. And then it builds, okay? All right. So this is crowdsourced etiquette. There you go.
Hi there.
And we got one up there. We'll go up to the high cedars next. Okay. We got somebody over there.
So it's not so much a question as to just let you all know, if you don't already know, that on April 1st, hip replacement, man. Okay. Yeah. Artificial joints, though, they rock.
Do you have a 2-minute timer?
All right. Yeah, that should be subtracted from my time.
We yield back 20 seconds.
Thank you. I just want to say that on April 1st, there are 2 special House elections in Florida. District 1, and which was Matt Gates' district, and District 6, which was, what's his name, Mike Waltz. The people running, Gay Valmont in District 1, Josh Wheel in District 6. Do a phone bank, send a check, do 2 phone bank. We can turn this, it's a low turnout election, and with all the, let's say, shite going on in Washington, I thought the Irishman would appreciate that. Now's the time, because things are crashing, people are upset. Help out. Let's start in the House of Representatives. Thanks.
Very good point. These special elections, huge bellwethers. Pastor?
Okay, here we go.
And then we're going to come up there. Hold on.
Yeah, hi. My name's David. I'm actually one of the other pastors here at Allendale. And yes, there was a period in my life where I actually represented people who were applying for disability with Social Security at the administrative law judge level, representing them there at those hearings. And one of my dearest friends presently serves in a very senior management position in one of our regional offices, which, by the way, everybody, they are now planning that 10 regional offices are going to be reduced to 4. Yeah, a lot of people have been let go already. The EEO, the civil rights, as you mentioned, Mr. O'Malley. So I called him knowing that this was going to happen today. And I said, okay, tell me, how really nervous should I be? And there was a pause. And he said, yeah, you need to be very nervous, David. We are looking at major kind of delays, which I know you'll speak to. And he told me in terms of these layoffs, one of the very first emails they received in his division was an email that said to his staff, it is time for you to be looking for more, quote unquote, productive employment in the private sector. Of which, yes. Anyway, in which his employee came back to him and said, I'm showing up for work every day I can as my form of civil disobedience. We hung up, and once we hung up, I went back to him and said, so I'm going to be there with Mr. O'Malley. What question, if you were here, would you ask him? And he replied, this would be my question. What can members of the public really do to ensure that Social Security remains safe and viable? And to me, that's a question that's coming from somebody who is now feeling disempowered in a position of power. Thank you.
I'm sure that many of you have had the experience of having to, fight your way to get to a person at Social Security, given their reduction in staffing. But what people have told me all across the country, and I've sat in a lot of waiting rooms, said, once I got to a person, it was really good. They were really kind. They really went the extra mile for me. These are the people that are being so abused and are being fired and told that. Tell him I'm super proud to have had the honor to serve with him for that year. And his use of the word republic was not lost on me. I used to communicate directly to people and dialed that word up and used it. I also want to compliment what people can do is what we're doing here. We all need to, instead of cursing the darkness, we need to light up, We need to call our representatives, and we also need to network, man. Network. There's power in people. We the people, this is still a republic. Don't lose it. I mean, anybody could have been an American citizen in easy times. Look how lucky we are. We've never been more needed. And citizen's the highest title in the land. So let's go to the tall cedars.
I have an actual question.
Okay, an actual question. Let me also say that you are very good Methodists not to have gone. Thank you for that.
We're all preaching to the choir here, but how do we engage the people who only watch Fox News and actually believe that there's huge amounts of waste, fraud, and abuse in the Social Security system?
Yup. Yeah, I don't really know, but I'm banking on the fact that when the time comes that their service is interrupted and their benefit check is interrupted. Now, some of them are going to say, that damn government never ever worked. Some of them will. And we can't break through that. We can't break through that. But I am betting that there's a majority of people in our country that are going to be, out of those 72.5 million, that are going to want to know what happened to their once strong agency. How did this come about? If you were to Google right now, Save Social Security, you will see a whole lot of articles about their dismantling of this agency that was not in there 2 weeks ago. And each one of them is really bad for their scheme because it's educating all of our friends about what they're doing and how quickly they're doing. This is a blitzkrieg of destruction on a proud agency. So we organize, and it is true. To a degree, we're preaching to the choir, but as Dr. King said, it's important to preach to the choir, otherwise they stop singing. So don't stop singing. Let's go. I'm trying to go around the room, and we'll come back. Yes, over there. Let me get you a mic. Good, I get to do my Phil Donahue thing. All right. All right, here we go. And your coat of many colors. I'm in a church. I have to feel like I have to weave in.
First, I would like former Governor O'Malley, thank you for appearing on PBS, MSNBC, and being here today. Thank you. Thank you. I've lived in St. Pete for 42 years and thought, what is a town hall? I wish we could get Senator Scott here because I, like many people that are 400 here today, we have called. I spent 10 minutes on the phone with an aide to Kathy Castor's office. What can you do? Because you know how they campaign in the state of Florida? TV ads. We don't need town halls. We don't need to talk to the people. I bet I'm frustrated. I've called the senators. I've called the congressmen. What do we do next? By the way, I even wrote a check to, the senator that's running in Georgia. I know a lot of people here probably do that too. But what do we do? I mean, how do we break through to the Florida Congress people? Help us.
We only have 10 minutes? Is that true? What do you mean? Well, we're just getting going. 10 minutes? Okay. All right. I wouldn't give up on Rick Scott, honestly. I would not give up on him on this issue. I think... I'm just telling you. Look, gang, I know you've known them longer than I have, but I talked to all of them in the process of getting confirmed and what people do publicly and what I wouldn't give up on them. Anything you post, though, I mean, you can post, you can go on the websites, you can give money to save so to keep the grassroots stuff going in Florida. That's important. We're not going to get kicked out by the pastor, right? Are you all okay with going
I have
on
a question
longer?
here from Debbie.
Okay, Debbie.
Okay.
Sorry. Then we'll come
I think at his last State of the Union address, President Biden was challenging the Republicans about whether they would vote to get rid of Social Security. And as I recall, a large majority of them said no. And I think it's incumbent upon us to contact in some way every single Republican who said they would not do away with Social Security. My
Yeah, that
other
was kind of
question
a
is,
voice vote, wasn't it?
well, that they would not attack it. But anyway, my other question is, Co-President Musk referred to Social Security as a Ponzi scheme. Have you any idea what he was talking about?
Yeah, let me talk about this a little bit. And help me explain this. This is the best I do. Social Security, or rather, let me say, a Ponzi scheme is where people contribute, and the only people that make any money, people in the lower levels contribute, and the only people that make any money are the people at the top, and eventually the whole Ponzi scheme collapses, and it's a pyramid on itself, and people are gullible and they fall for it. Social Security has been going on for 90 years without ever missing a monthly payment, and therefore, that alone proves that it's not a Ponzi scheme. It is instead a pay-as-you-go program. So, last year, because of all of the people that were working in our economy, they paid in $1.3 trillion, I'm rounding here, they're big numbers, $1.3 trillion into Social Security. And the whole trust fund paid it into Social Security. Out of that, and then Social Security paid active beneficiaries, whether on disability or retirees, paid $1.4 trillion. So where, do you ask, did the other $100 billion come from? That was drawn, as it has been for the last 4 years, as baby boomers work their way through this journey. That was taken out of the Social Security Trust Fund reserve. A reserve that has been built up into a surplus in order to cover the lifetimes of baby boomers. Mick Mulvaney asked the other day on one of these shows, why can't you admit that it's going bankrupt? Because once we get to 2035, that'll be depleted and there'll have to be automatic cuts. I said, no, there won't, Mick. There weren't automatic cuts in 1983 when it was depleted. Congress came together and adjusted the 75-year forecast. If, like imagining that happens, we'd all get a 17% cut in benefits. That's not bankruptcy by any stretch of the term. And if you had a business and you knew that in 2035 you were going to have a 17% revenue gap, you do something over the next 9 years to adjust for that. And that's what we can do with this. To govern is to choose, as President Kennedy said. So it's a pay-as-you-go program, and the monies get paid in, get paid out. Some people have the misperception that there's somehow a savings account for them, that maybe somebody's robbed over the years. That's not true. It's a pay-as-you-go program. But we do keep track of everybody's earnings to show and calculate your right amount at the end. I went longer than 2 minutes, and none of you all did the.
I've got a
one. I promised. I think I promised.
After that, I have Phyllis over here. Okay, on the other side. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I can stand, and I'm supposed to stand every 30 minutes, don't you know? We all should be standing every 30 minutes. Anyway, I have a specific question about legal action. What lawsuits are currently active? Who is filing lawsuits? Who has standing? And what is going on in the courts? Because the courts have worked for stopping in their tracks before this. So what? Give us some hope.
Yeah, some litigation. Have hope. Look, I wouldn't have come down here if we didn't have hope. None of you would have come here to hear that the execution of your benefits was happening tomorrow. We all have hope. We have hope. There's the litigation strategy. There's a few things going on. AFSCME filed suit. I forget. I'm not exactly sure what their standing is, but I think they're filing against the robbing of beneficiaries of the customer service they'd already paid for their whole lives. The attorneys general are all gathering and talking. I have a meeting with them in a couple days. Yeah, and so they're all talking about what sort of actions the states can take on this. I know that there is a suit being considered. I shouldn't say the name of the organization, but an organization that advocates for people with disabilities is filing a suit based on disparate treatment. In other words, that these cuts and these eliminations of customer service will disparately fall upon people with disabilities or those applying for disability. So there's lots of suits going on. Pastor?
Yes, my name is Phyllis Young, and my question is, if they stop distributing the Social Security, because I'm on Social Security right now, if they stop distributing it, will they stop collecting it?
Ooh. Well, you know, we say that, but co-President Trump has frequently said that we should eliminate all payroll taxes. You know? That's his messaging. He can't say, because the program's so valued by 80% of Americans, he can't say Social Security. So he says we should eliminate the payroll tax. So there is a threat of that. And they'll probably tell you, you'll make more if we eliminate the payroll tax. The other thing they'll tell you is, hey, maybe how about we give you a lump sum before Christmas this year if it tanks? And then you can invest it in the market into great companies like Bear Stearns or something that'll pay a great rate of return. Part of the beauty of this program and the reason it's been around for 90 years is the act requires that the trust fund dollars, to the extent in any years that there's a surplus, be invested in U.S. Treasury bonds. I mean, that's part of the financial stability of it. Does it pay as much as investing in Bitcoin? I don't know. But you want to talk about a Ponzi scheme? Let me, coming to you next, let me ask for your indulgence for a couple more. Well, no, I'm not going to ask for your indulgence.
We have a question in the balcony, too, from Jenny.
Come back up to the balcony. Go ahead.
2. Pardon me, I have a TBI and I have a hard time tracking, so I'm going to be a little slow, but I have only 2 quick questions. How do I network with a TBI trapped at home most of the time? 2, what can Congress, our representatives who are fighting like hell right now, what can they do, what are they doing to push back against this, and how do we help them?
I can't answer. TBI is? Brain injury, excuse me. I should know that. I was the Social Security Commissioner, right? TBI. I don't know how to answer the question about networking with that sort of disability. Anything that any of us can do on social media, posting, keeping it in the news, reading the paper, when you see an article that's really, really clear, tell people that they should read it, all of those sorts of things. And I know, it hasn't come up here yet, but there is an app that people were shouting at me at 2 big town halls like this yesterday called 5 Calls. 5 Calls. Who wants to give some testimony about how easy it is to use 5 Calls? Okay, so, but it has to be 2 minutes. You hear the murmuring? Tell us what 5 Calls is.
5 Calls is an app that you can get on your cell phone or your computer. You put in your name, where you live. It pulls up your state. It pulls up all your local legislatures. It gives you the categories, whether it's education or Social Security or whatever, Medicare, whatever the topic is, and it gives you who to call. The phone, you just directly call. It gives you topics and suggested things to say.
So you can email them too?
You could email, but this is 5 Calls, and then at the end you log in of whether you actually talked to a person, left a message, or there was no response. And it is so easy, and you get to pick the topics you want to call your representatives and senators about. It's free, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Yes. Let me go to the
We've got Jenny in the balcony. Thank
tall
you.
cedars.
Hello. So my question is about artificial intelligence, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
is that is what I have heard as the rebuttal, because we can eliminate a lot of human positions and not be paying salaries and benefits, et cetera. And their AI clearly is already in place. I know this is not popular, and I don't like it either, but it's already in place in a lot of situations, and I think we're not going to halt that from being everywhere. So my question is, what is the cogent rebuttal to that?
Yeah, our first gentleman asked that, and I didn't respond to it. At Social Security, over the years, they have always been bringing in tools. You know that yawning gap you saw in the mismatch between step? The only way they've been able to keep their nose above water is because of using automation. Last year, we found a way through a tool that was invented by somebody at Social Security, and I know I'm blurring the lines between automation and AI, but they found we had a tool. It was actually invented 10 years ago, but it got stopped up and they didn't approve it because they were afraid of it. But we approved a tool that would take the time it takes to apply for Medicare only. Some of you have had the experience of applying for Medicare only before you claim your retirement. We shrank that from 8 minutes to 8 seconds. And if an anomaly popped up where you signed up for something that didn't seem to make sense, the machine, as fast as it was going, would stop and say, an attendant needs to examine the application on the right page. So that's a pretty good use, I think, of artificial intelligence. What we also, let me give you another one. In the disability determinations, because of electronic medical records, and I learned the distinction between electronic medical records and structured electronic medical records, but because of how easy it is to just send volumes of pages of medical records, the disability examiners were getting like 1,100 pages of medical records, but with a new tool, a machine, just like, you know, when you Google something, it curates and goes all over the place, where the machine's able to look through that, knowing what the person was alleging in their application, you know, the conditions, the medical listing conditions, and that would tell the examiner the relevant page, the most relevant pages will be found here, 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 and here for this one, and these other places. So that, those are good uses of it. What we don't want is for AI to be making a determination in Schuyler's case or another human being. I mean, that's why we have administrative law judges and the other people engaged in it. So, I mean, artificial intelligence is coming. Automation always happens. You can read super scary things about it. I'm not a Luddite. I believe in using things that work in order to serve people better. It's all about human dignity and the person where I come from. Pastor?
We are out of time for Q&A. Yes. I do want to let you know of two quick things. One, if you want to share this conversation, you can go to www.allendaleumc.org/townhall. If you take a picture of this, you'll be able to share out the live stream of this. I also wanted to let you know that we have a special guest. We have Keandra Darling, who is going to be running for State House District 62.
I just want to say thank you all so much for being engaged in this topic. We know that's what's happening right now around the world is causing some really concerning things, especially as it relates to Tallahassee. I am ready and willing to stand up and to fight for our rights, for our access to health care, to housing, amongst so many other things. And I welcome an opportunity to speak with anyone who would like to help to inform the plan that we will take to Tallahassee to win our State House race. So you can learn more at darlingforfl.com. I've been really engaged in this community, born and raised, and I'm looking forward to talking to you all. Thank you so much.
Does anybody have a guitar pick? We're in need of a guitar pick. Well, tell us your name again, Pastor.
Keandra Darling.
Darling?
I understand.
Keandra Darling.
Keandra Darling.
All right. Now we're going to do 2 quick ones, and then first come, first serve on whatever amount of lunch we had. You know the story of the bread and fishes? He's not here. Well, actually he is, but it's not going to multiply the lunch we could afford to buy. So, and I know some of you are hungry, so here we go. I'm going to do just 2 little things here. Let's do one you all know. This land is your land. This land is mine. From to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that rhythm of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. All together now, last time. This land is your land. This land is my land. Call your congressman. California to the New York Island. And your 2 senators. But forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Don't take away my Social Security. I really need it. Keep your hands off it. I really need my Social Security. Don't let Musk destroy it. All together, this land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Rise up, everybody. Rise up. Rise up. Are you ready to save Social Security? Are you ready to save Medicare? Rise up, democracy. Rise up. Hold up your banners if you can.
Please hold up the placards. Please hold them up.
Okay, we done? You have any other announcements?
We're going to take a couple pictures, and then we got some refreshments, but we need to take some photos. I'm looking for Paul.
He's right behind you.
Oh, so he's hiding behind me. Okay. Hey guys, thank you so much. Please, one thing I have to tell you. We had a problem with our website. We have blank space under our header, but you need to scroll down because it says donate here, and then there's a blank space, and then all the information just scroll down. I called the computer guys, the tech guys, and said, please fix this. So there's a lot of information on the website and a place where you can sign up to connect with us, okay? Just a second. I'm sorry. Just give me a minute. Okay, here we go.